They whispered behind her back, thinking she couldn't hear. Unprofessional. Messy. Not the company image. All because of her hair.
Nia had walked into the office that morning with a smile as bright as the sun.
She was proud of the curls that framed her face, proud of the braids that carried her culture, proud of finally embracing herself. But to her manager, those curls weren't beauty. They were a problem. By lunchtime, she was called into the corner office. The air was heavy, the blinds half closed like judgmental eyes. And then, with the coldness of someone tossing out yesterday's news, her boss said the words that shattered her world. "We have to let you go. This look just isn't professional enough for us." It wasn't her performance. Her numbers had been the highest in the team. It wasn't her attitude. Colleagues respected her kindness. No, it was her hair, her natural God-given crown. As Nia packed her things in silence, every stapler and sticky note felt like a piece of her stolen dignity. She walked out, head held high but heart trembling, the sting of injustice burning deeper than any words could describe. What they didn't know, however, was that this would not be the end of her story. They thought they had broken her. They thought her hair made her less. But years later, when the same company desperately needed saving, they would open the boardroom door and see someone they never expected sitting at the head of the table, Nia. This time her curls weren't a problem. They were power. Nia grew up in a small neighborhood where Sundays meant church. Laughter and the smell of cornbread drifting from every home. Her mother always told her, "Baby, your hair is your crown. Never let anyone make you ashamed of it." But from a young age, Nia noticed the way the world treated her differently when she wore her hair natural. In school, teachers patted her head as if it were something to be examined. On job interviews, recruiters' eyes lingered too long as though curls were a crime. Despite it all, Nia excelled. She studied business administration, often working double shifts at the local diner just to cover tuition. By the time she graduated, she had a resume that outshined most of her peers, internships, top grades, and glowing recommendations. Her first real corporate job felt like stepping into a dream. A sleek glass building, coworkers in polished suits, and her own desk by the window. She worked tirelessly, arriving early, staying late, proving herself every single day. But there was always one unspoken rule she couldn't ignore. Professional hair meant straightened hair. For months, she spent hours burning her scalp with flat irons, hiding her curls under wigs, trying to fit in. It wasn't until she gained confidence and reached the top sales spot in her division that she thought, maybe it's time to show them the real me. That Monday, she walked in with her natural curls bouncing proudly. Some colleagues complimented her. Others avoided eye contact. Her manager, Mr. Collins, didn't say a word all morning, but his frown said enough. By lunchtime, she was called into his office. The blinds were half closed, the air thick. "Nia, you know we value you, but this look, it doesn't align with our professional image. Clients might not take us seriously." Her heart sank. "Are you saying my hair makes me less professional?" Collins sighed, avoiding her eyes. "It's not personal. It's just company standards." But the truth was personal. It was her identity, her heritage, her dignity. And just like that, she was fired. That evening, Nia sat on her bed staring at her reflection. Her mother's words echoed, "Your hair is your crown." But tonight, her crown felt heavy. She could have broken. She could have hidden. Instead, she made a decision. If they wouldn't accept her for who she was, she would create a world where people like her not only belonged. They thrived. The months that followed weren't easy. Without a steady income, Nia struggled to pay rent. She worked small gigs, tutoring, babysitting, even selling homemade body butter at the farmer's market. But with every sale, every handshake, she found her spark again. She noticed something important. People loved authenticity. Her hair, her confidence, her story, it inspired others. Women came to her booth not just for the butter, but for advice, encouragement, and hope. One night, while writing in her journal, Nia had a breakthrough. What if she started her own company? One that celebrated natural beauty instead of hiding it. One that created products made for people like her, by people like her. She called it Crown Essence. The beginning was rough. She worked out of her tiny kitchen, mixing oils and shea butter, labeling jars by hand. She delivered products in brown paper bags, often by bus. There were days she questioned herself, days she almost quit. But slowly word spread. Customers loved her products. Social media gave her a voice, and soon thousands were following her story. Every order felt like another brick laid in the foundation of her dream. Meanwhile, the old company that had fired her was struggling. Their sales declined, their image felt outdated, and whispers of layoffs spread through the halls. While Nia's Crown Essence grew, their empire began to crumble. One day, she received an email from an investor. "Your brand has incredible potential. We'd like to partner with you." Within 5 years, Crown Essence was no longer just jars and paper bags. It was on shelves nationwide. And Nia, once told she wasn't professional, was now the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. But destiny wasn't done with her yet. It was a crisp autumn morning when Nia got the call. "Ms. Johnson, there's a company looking to merge. They're struggling badly but still hold valuable assets. We think it would be a strategic move for Crown Essence." Nia asked the name. When she heard it, her breath caught. It was them. The same company that had fired her. For a moment, she considered saying no. Why reopen an old wound? But something inside her whispered, "This is your moment." Weeks later, she walked into the very building she once left in tears. The marble floors, the cold elevators. The same corner office smell. It all came rushing back. Except this time she wasn't an employee. She was the potential buyer. In the boardroom, executives sat nervously, shuffling papers. At the head of the table was Mr. Collins, older now, but still with the same stiff posture. He looked up, and for the first time in his life, he was speechless. "Nia?" he stammered. She smiled, her curls glowing under the boardroom lights. "Good morning, gentlemen. I'm here representing Crown Essence." As she laid out the terms of the acquisition, Collins tried to interrupt, tried to regain control, but his words stumbled. The power dynamic had shifted completely. In the end, they had no choice. Crown Essence bought the company. And with one signature, the girl they once dismissed for her hair became their boss. Nia walked through the halls that day, every step echoing with pride. Employees whispered, just like years ago, but this time, the whispers carried awe, not judgment. She addressed the staff in the same room where she once packed her belongings. Her voice was steady, but her eyes shimmered. "Years ago, I was told I didn't belong here. That my hair, my culture, my identity didn't fit. Today, I return not with anger, but with purpose. Crown Essence will be a place where everyone is valued, not for how they look, but for who they are." Applause filled the room. Some employees even wiped away tears. As for Mr. Collins, he was demoted and eventually retired quietly. He never apologized, but he didn't have to. Her success was the answer to every insult, every dismissal, every act of discrimination. Crown Essence thrived, becoming more than a beauty company. It became a movement. Schools invited Nia to speak. Parents thanked her for giving their children role models. And magazines called her the CEO who redefined professionalism. At night, when Nia stood in front of the mirror, she no longer saw the girl who once cried over rejection. She saw a woman crowned in strength, resilience, and unshakable pride. And every time she touched her curls, she smiled. They weren't just hair. They were history, culture, and power woven into every strand. That day, the world learned a lesson. Never judge a woman by her hair. Because sometimes, the very thing you try to shame is the very thing that makes her unstoppable. And what would you do if this happened to you? Would you have walked away? Or come back stronger?